So as the parent of a teenager, do you ever feel like your teen is out of control? Do you feel like your efforts to enforce rules or good behavior, they just are ineffective? Well, today we're going to reveal the number 2 item on our list of the top 10 things you need to stop doing as a parent with a teenager and what you can do instead. And this shift in perspective is just going to be critical to having your teenager be more responsible and be able to make better choices. So let's check it out. Well, hello everyone. My name is Jim White and I'm an author, coach, and the founder of the Family Enrichment Academy. But more importantly, I'm a parent just like you. My wife and I, we've raised 6 children into and through those teenage years, so we've been there as well. Well, today we're going to be revealing the number 2 item on our list of the top 10 things you need to stop doing as a parent with a teenager. So number 2 on this list, I'm going to ask that you stop punishing your teenager. Now, before you discount this idea, I want you to hear me out. Now, you may be thinking that if your teenager does something wrong or they break a rule, that there needs to be a consequence. And actually, I would agree with that. The distinction, though, I want to draw is the distinction between punishment as a consequence versus a natural consequence and them taking responsibility for that natural consequence. So let's take a look at an example. Let's say you have a 14-year-old daughter and she went to a friend's birthday party last night. Now this was a big deal because there was this boy at the party that she really likes, and so she wanted to look her best. And unfortunately what she did was, without asking, she went into her older sister's closet and took one of her sweaters. Well, unfortunately at the party somebody bumped into her, and of course it spilt drink all down the front of this sweater. Now, you've just learned about this situation by a very upset older sister. Now, you can picture something like this playing out, can't you? So the younger sister has definitely acted inappropriately. So let's take a look at the difference between using punishment as a consequence versus using her taking responsibility for the natural consequences. An example of punishment as a consequence in this scenario would be for you to take away the younger sister's phone for a couple of weeks, or maybe ground her for a month. Now, your role in this scenario as the parent is to be the judge, the jury, and the enforcer of this punishment. So the underlying goal in this approach is to try to control your child's future behavior through the threat of a future punishment as well. And this is the approach that I'm going to ask that you give up. And the reason is because it really damages that relationship that you have with your child, and it does nothing to move them forward along their journey of personal development. So here's what I recommend you do instead. Start by teaching your child that their choices and their actions have consequences, both good and bad. And while they'll be able to enjoy the benefits of their good choices, they're also going to have to take responsibility and make amends for any bad choices that they make or bad decisions. The responsibility for making amends and repairing any damage caused by a bad choice, this becomes the natural consequence. So in a situation like the one we've been talking about, you become the coach and the mentor. What you do is you point out the damage caused, and then you help coach them along and mentor them for making amends or fixing any problems that they may have caused by their poor choice. Here's what that might sound like. So taking your sister's sweater without asking, that was an inconsiderate choice, wouldn't you agree? Now, your actions, they've created a few issues that you need to take responsibility for and resolve. What are your plans for cleaning or replacing the sweater? Now from here, this is where you move into coaching mode, and you can use your coaching skills to help them develop a plan. Now the last part of your role in this approach is just to hold them accountable to do what they said they were going to do. So can you see how holding them accountable has a completely different dynamic than enforcing some arbitrary punishment? Now, I like to say that a change in perspective changes everything. And so I want you to think about this shift for a minute. When you have something like this pop up, rather than seeing it as an issue or a problem that you have to deal with, see it as a gift for you and your teenager. These situations create opportunities for you to help them grow and develop into a responsible adult. So the number 2 item on our list of the top 10 things you need to stop doing as a parent with a teenager is to stop punishing your teenager. And then what you can do instead is I want you to lean into the possibility of using those natural consequences and having them take responsibility for those natural consequences. That's the alternative. Now, before we wrap up today, I did want to let you know that I have a free resource for you. And this fits into this theme of things you need to stop doing and what you can do instead. What I have is 10 questions you should never ask your teenager. Think of these as like conversation killers. And then I also have 10 great questions. These are the conversation starters. And it's a free resource that you can download at our website. And I'll put a link to the website down in the description below. But just so you know, it's FamilyEnrichmentAcademy.com. So be sure to check that out. Now, as always, it's truly an honor to be able to serve and support you as you move along your parenting journey. And it certainly is a journey. And again, I want to acknowledge you for your willingness to step into the possibility of being a better parent and just having that growth mindset. It's just going to be critical to getting through these teenage years. Until next time, remember, a change in perspective changes everything.